So, anyway, who has a question?
I'm not answering any more questions.
the last one for the council people, because it did tie in. You know, on this issue that's coming up for the vote, in 2 weeks, you're gonna start having people voting on this. And Rob, with due respect, I looked at the minutes, I came to the meetings, I couldn't tell you how many council people are in favor of that rezoning issue and how many aren't. It's the same issue. You've got to give the public, don't you think you have to give the public the information upon which to make a decision?
Rick, and I think that it's up to each individual council person to give their opinion on the specific zoning issue, and I think each council person in the city, as well as the administration, does a very good job of sending newsletters quarterly, updating residents, and I always send them to my residents explaining the pros and cons of each issue and not telling people how to vote. I think the electorate in the city is intelligent enough to know how to vote when they're provided the information, and I think I plan on sending everyone in the world to that information.
They give you ask these.
When are you going to send it out?
It's going to go out probably in the next week or so.
Okay, because one of the things we're dealing with these days is we've got
Early voting.
And you got people voting absentee before they even know what the hell is going on. I think all of you, if you want to get that information out, better get out fast.
Mr. Mendelson, I was at the meeting when you brought up, I thought, a very valid point. You have a business owner who's sort of non-conforming, running a non-conforming business outside of an area for which it's zoned. And it seemed like that burden should be placed upon that business owner to go ahead and get the change of zoning on the ballot and have to incur all the costs and everything associated with that. So I understood where you're coming from. I thought you made a really valid point. But as a candidate, I started thinking about this for a minute. And it is a tough situation. I think as a candidate, I would say I am not supportive of, I personally will not be voting when I go into the polls. I will not vote for this per se. But by the city doing it, they were able to control the language on the ballot so that it could, possibly try and protect the city as best they could. But I think you brought up a really valid point at that meeting.
When it happens the way that you say, the petition coming in, that ordinance that's being prepared still is reviewed. It still gets reviewed. It doesn't go on automatically. It has to have some public screening. But I thank you, and I appreciate your position.
Bobby, you have a question?
Yeah, well, anyone can answer it. Are we talking about the car place on
Yes.
the Well, how many people out in the neighborhoods are going to give a damn to even know what it's all about? From somebody who works across the street from this place, and they go zooming down the street in their Ferraris and whatever, Lotus, all those fancy cars, and if somebody's trying to pull out of the driveway, but okay, I'm going to vote no. But how am I going to try and tell everybody in Solon? I mean, it doesn't affect them. They're not going to care about it. They're not going to read your newsletter. If you did, or if they do, they're going to say, well, what's he saying? What should I vote? And if they don't have any input from your councilman, who's going to tell you?
People do care.
Right.
They care a lot.
Well, I think maybe they care that the fact that somebody's, it's like immigration. They're here illegally.
And you'd be shocked at how many people read the information.
I'm just saying that there's a lot of uninformed voters.
Because I can't find it.
And we're lucky if we get 20% votes of all the citizens in Solon.
When I'm out campaigning, I'm surprised at how many people ask me, when's the election? That's what it always is.
Depends on who you're voting for.
Not necessarily. But it's always on a Tuesday.
Marilyn, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to put in a plug. You've all heard me say it 1,000 times. Go to your school board meetings twice a month. Go to your city council meetings twice a month. They're on every Monday night. You could have something to do besides watching the bad news on TV. Because one is the first and third, the other one's the second and the fourth. And believe me, you will understand a great deal more. and have a great deal of gratitude for people, whether you agree with them or not. These are our public servants, and I'm glad some of you, who have spoken to me more than one time, have used that term. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Go ahead.
I have one question. I know Twinsburg is in the process of considering some roundabouts and whatnot going south on 91, maybe 2 of them. And the farm area over there now, Corey's Farm, is now talking about building 94 new homes in that. What's the impact of, is Solon working with Twinsburg to try and alleviate, that's gonna be one heck of a mess going south.
It already is. Our new traffic engineer is very familiar with that project. He's working with, the city of Twinsburg. It's GPD, and Mike Hobbs is very familiar with it, so he's working directly with the city of Twinsburg.
Okay, this is gonna affect their traffic.
Yes, and you are correct. You are correct.
I would like to comment on this zoning issue. That's on Davis Parkway, correct? The problem with the zoning issue, if you have a guy with a machine shop, welding and burning, torching, and down the road painting, and you have a pharmaceutical place next door, or you have a food storage area next door, the zoning is put in place to protect the citizens, to protect the product that comes out, to protect everything. And if you let somebody come in and do what's gonna be a nuisance, cause a problem, the filtration is picked up by the exhaust systems next door. This is why the zoning was put in to begin with. And I believe you have to honor the zoning, and if you don't honor the zoning, you just rot. And you rot from the inside, you don't rot from the outside. And it begins with being rigid with your zoning and abiding it, because every citizen and everyone we ship to is gonna be involved and pay the price if we don't stop something that could create a health hazard with product that's being infiltrated from a body shop, a paint shop, a spray shop, or everybody driving 100 miles an hour with their new Zoomers.
If I could just jump in here real quick, I think the premise of Rick's question is not so much are you for or against it with a particular issue. I think the premise of the question is, before you vote on it, as a council, put it on the ballot, before you vote on anything as a councilman, in public, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, whether you're voting yes or voting no, is to tell you guys why you're voting yes or why you're voting no, why you think that this decision is a good decision for Solon. And then you get to make the decision whether or not you agree with us. But again, the premise is, give us the information, why are you voting this way? And that's what I hear is, if I'm right, Rick, that you feel is not happening, that there isn't the public conversation, there isn't the public comment as to why, where do these people stand? Tell us why you think it should be on the ballot. Tell us why it shouldn't be on the ballot. Give us your thought process before you
Because
vote.
the voters decide, so. Because our voters decide.
It's our charter.
That's our charter.
Then how come Sept didn't get put on the
We
ballot?
have a responsibility to put it on.
How come Sept didn't get put on the ballot?
That's not the same issue.
It's zoning.
All right, listen, we really want to thank you all for being here tonight and talking to us. We really appreciate it. I know that there's a lot more discussion that can be had, but we're short on time. We will be kicked out at 9 o'clock. So I wanted to bring the school board candidates up for a few more minutes as well, because I know there's some other questions that people want to ask them. So thank you, gentlemen. We really appreciate it.